Hello, University of Cincinnati Psychology of Sports students. Okay, we're wrapping up week 3 and we're going on to week 4. Hopefully you're getting into the program, and I have noticed that only about half of you are clicking through and watching these week in reviews and weekly recap videos. Sometimes I give you guys some really good pointers, so kudos to you who are following and clicking through and watching all these videos, as well as all the lecture videos. Now, this week coming up, we will only have a quiz coming up in this week, and we are still working on motivation. We're really about to start to get into the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and I'm glad most of you have already submitted your blogs about money being and how money can influence a player to get motivated. We had some really interesting ones. We had, let's see, Dulcie Hartzau. Sorry, and please, if I pronounce your name wrong in these videos, can you email me privately and tell me how to pronounce your name? I'd appreciate it. So Dulcie Hartzau, she mentioned that, hey, not only money is a motivating factor, but sometimes the media and getting a great play on ESPN can be even more of a motivational factor than money itself. So that can be another kind of extrinsic motivation factor. Let's see, Kelsey Conway, he identified, and several of you said this, about pointing out how athletes like Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Tom Brady, they're not so much, when they get to that super high elite level, are not so much motivated by money, but more motivated by just that intrinsic drive to excel and achieve win and victories. But Kelsey also pointed out, one of your fellow students, about how perhaps the money as a motivational factor plays differently in different sports. He mentioned NASCAR and tennis, and a few of you also mentioned golf and some other sports that, hey, it could be a different level of motivation depending on what sport you play. So that's interesting. We had Calvin Opperman talk about how, and again, a lot of people went through into this topic about how too much money can almost backfire, and maybe it becomes an influence that hinders your motivation or hinders your performance at least. So pointing out that the money can become such a big pressure. And let's see, Alexander Black also talked about some similar things, but he also pointed out about how collegiate athletes, have kind of their motivation, extrinsic motivation tied up with money is kind of twofold. In a collegiate athlete, let's say a football player, for example, they can be motivated by the possibility of a future contract in the pros, but they're also currently having to motivate themselves and be concerned with keeping their college scholarship. That is a huge financial gain, getting a college scholarship. So it can be equated in collegiate athletes' careers and in their lives as similar to money being an external motivator. So keep up the good work. We're headed into week 4. Again, let's see, we only have a quiz this week. And please keep your questions coming. And I'll remind you again, only to use Firefox as your browser when you're doing any quizzes. And some other tips might be in doing a quiz is don't play with your screen, like minimize the video or maximize it while you've already started the quiz. And be sure that you don't have any other apps running in the background. You might like to play music. It might help you when you're working, keep you concentrated. But try not to do it on the iTunes on your own computer while you're using the computer. Just having that extra app running sometimes apparently can knock you out of the quiz and cause problems. So I appreciate all of your feedback and hope you guys have a fantastic week 4.